This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Hey guys, welcome. It's Friday. It's time for another Retro Buzz here. We are episode number 88. Long running. Continues to go. 2022, second episode of the year. And we're back full steam ahead with our full panel. We've got here playing his Mini Tron. Is that like your Mini Me?
That's Mini Me. That's exactly who that is.
Yep. The Mini Me. Mini Glen playing a Mini Tron. Are you trying to tell us something? Are you starting a new rumor? What are you doing?
No, just want everyone to know that, we are going to fully support that machine. We're going to make sure everything works, spinners, joysticks, take care of stuff that's been, kind of defective with the machine.
So you're gonna do Arcade 1-Up's job and fix it.
I always do.
Also, we got back. He's almost 100%.
I mean, pretty close. I mean, I could still kill most human beings walking the face of the earth with my bare hands, but I still sound a little bit nasally and congested. But overall, I'm back to operational capacity.
I was gonna play that song. What does it go? I'm back in the New York groove. But I didn't want to get a copyright strike on us there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta say, I've been gone a week, but like, it's funny to see things haven't changed. Like, pull up Glen's image there. I've got to make one comment here. So, Glen,
Yeah.
put your lips together, and then turn to what I assume is your right.
It looks just like it.
Yeah, I mean, nailed it. Just nailed it. I mean, that needs to be on the packaging.
That's true. That's a good point. You could put that on your packaging for that.
Yeah, that needs to be on all the GRS packages moving forward. Is that image right there?
Shoeshine says, I can't wait to put your stuff into my Tron cabinet and make it fulfill.
That's what she said. Oh my God. I had to say it.
Low hanging fruit, apparently.
Well, like you said, Doug, some things have not changed since you've been gone. But this is the first show probably in about 5 or 6 episodes. Or 5 or 6 weeks, not episodes, because we did take off 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, the holidays.
So that we've all been back together, because Glenn wasn't here, and you and I did the show because he had to work. Mm-hmm. And then you got sick, and then you weren't here, and then we had the 2 weeks off. So it's been a doozy, and you come back to a slow news week.
I mean, it is what it is. You guys got all the meat and potatoes last week of the CES news and announcements, but that's just the way the nature of the business goes. Everybody lines up their announcements for 1 week, and then after that it's just quiet, and then you that quiet settles for about a month and a half, and then it rolls into something else. But Toy Fair is already canceled, and
the New York Toy Fair, third year trying to get going down there, and it's canceled again.
Well,
yeah,
we gave you props last week, and again, we really appreciate you putting the news together for us last week, because you were anticipating coming, and then you were like, guys, I just can't do it.
So I knew I would sound like some crazy person, screaming from the basement or whatever without my voice. So I was like, it just wouldn't be worth it, me even trying to sit there and sneeze and cough into a microphone and have nothing come out of my vocal cords. So I was like, you guys got this.
Yeah, we appreciate you putting that together. So before we get into some of this, you weren't here to give your take on the CES. What was the most exciting thing that you saw? Obviously, you watched from afar, just like the rest of us. What was your standout announcement? We'll call it an announcement.
I mean, this is like no slight towards anybody, but I was underwhelmed across the board. I did like some things I saw, like the new 2.0 IR arcade cabinet. I think that's a step in the right direction. As somebody that was an early adopter, am I shocked and surprised to see the same thing kind of upgraded? No, that's just the nature of electronics. So I'm not sour that there's a new, better version of the iArcade out there. It's something I mentioned from day one when I first interviewed Jong at CES. It was like, hey, what do you think about a light up marquee on this thing? And he's like, we're not really worried about that or doing that right now. I'm like, you really should. So I was very happy to see, the new 2.0 has the light up marquee, has, contract with JBL. So it's even more powerful sound. So that's cool. Just kind of wanted to see something more / different from iArcade. Maybe some more news about the online capabilities. Arcade 1-Up, Pac-Man. I mean, you can set your watch to a Pac-Man announcement from Arcade 1-Up. So, I mean, that's not a shock. The Cinebeat cabinet, that was kind of leaked months ago, so that was not a surprise there. The Pro Series, again, knew that was happening, knew it was going to be around the $1,000 price point. So none of that was shocking to me. None of that, honestly, is interesting to me personally. I know there's a lot of people out there super excited about it. They're like, oh, yes, I'll pay whatever for Killer Instinct Pro, and if that makes you happy, good. But for me, I'm still kind of sitting on the sidelines because Arcade 1-Up is just not releasing anything or announcing anything that speaks to me personally or warrants me opening my wallet for their asking prices currently. So it's good. I mean, it means I get to save some money because I need to. Apparently, I got a kid on the way.
Well, one of the things that
Hey, wait. The kid is going to come on the way. Does that mean you're going to have a deadbolt on the cool toy retro room there? Is that going to be like deadbolted, security alarmed?
100%. And I keep getting informed of all these things about children and babies. Like, apparently it's frowned upon to put like a jail cell style cage around them at all times. Like, wife was showing me these like little baby play pens, and I'm like, that thing's way too short. I'm like, she's like, what do you mean? Like, you gotta like turn it upside down and like pin them in there. And she's like, you can't do that to a kid. I'm like, says who? She's like, child services. And I'm like, this is all news to me. So, I'm learning.
Well, let me ask you, this is kind of for both of you guys. Let me ask you, do you think, because we discussed this and it's not for Glen or I, and that's not, a slight at anybody out there who wants this Pro Series, but do you think it's a little too late for the Pro Series announcement? Because a lot of these guys, we use the example Michael B, have 50 million of these, 3/4 scale arcades. Did they wait too long to bring this to the market, do you think?
No, I think they waited the correct amount of time. I mean, you have to establish there's a massive need and desire from your customers for that product. And if you jump the gun, you did this like, 7 months into the first cycle of wave 2 or whatever it was, then you're cutting your own legs out from under you because you alienate people that aren't potentially ready for that jump in quality and or price. I mean, right, people are already still kind of coming to terms with the sticker shock in the last 12 months we've had from Arcade 1-Up, where the prices literally went up 40% across the board for most of their products. Prior to that, if they were to announce the Pro line, I mean, people would have revolted even more. It would have been torches and pitchforks. Like, you can't announce a $1,000 or $1,200 cabinet without setting the table with these $600, $700, $750 prices in between. So, I mean, they've essentially breadcrumbed people into the oven, which is what's happening here. Because, hey, look, we're going to get you hooked on these $200, $300 deals. We're going to change some things around. Those 300 deals are going to go to 400, 450, 499. And then, hey, look, we'll use inflation and all these other regions and impacts and rationale to say, hey, 750 is the new target moving forward. You get new cool things like a 10 sign and a stool you didn't want, and that's the justification for the price increases. But oh wait, there's more just around the corner for $1,200 or $1,000. We'll raise the cabinet up another 6 inches and give you some quality controls you've been asking for 2.5 years that even at a retail cost would not justify the price increase. But I digress. Am I happy? Honestly, I'm happy to see them doing the Pro Line series. Is it for me? That's yet to be determined, but likely not, just because I don't think, this is just my gut reaction. Like I said, I'm judging something before it truly exists, which is unfair, and I'll be the first to admit that. But just seeing what I've seen, knowing what I know about the product, I don't think the quality to cost and ratio is going to be enough to justify that type of expenditure for me personally. If it works for you, great. I've just got a different set of criteria, the things that I look for and justify when I spend that kind of money.
Well, what about, like, Glenn made the point last week, and I'm going to put this out there again, Glenn. You made the point that they're really encroaching on the cost of an actual arcade that you could buy used, $1,500, $2,000, a Pac-Man,
Right.
granted, I understand, like, the Donkey Kongs and Miss Pac-Mans of the world, they're going to cost you a little bit more because they're depending on the quality. But Doug, we were just watching before the show here. We were watching your video on you got the Jurassic Park pinball table,
Mhm.
and you have been taking that apart, cleaning it, adding new components to it, making it, restoring it essentially.
Yeah.
You got a heck of a deal. You said you got a heck of a deal. So now the digital pinball, yeah, you might get it, but you're now looking at it going, I can buy a real pinball table that I've wanted for around a little bit more than what a high-end digital table is going to cost. You know, the people out there that have been buying cabinet, or Mike in the chat room made the comment about Michael B. It's like on the third wave or the third version of the cabinet of different cabinets. And that's not a slam against Michael B. But at what point do you have to say, I've already spent $2,000 on these cabinets. Like, why not just buy a original?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, rationale to why they gravitate towards certain things. Obviously, again, we've mentioned 1,000 times, space is an obvious, disclaimer for some of these. I mean, I've seen arcade cabinets pop up on the Facebook Marketplace that are just stupid cheap and they're in great condition, and I should buy them. They're a great value, but then I'm like, it's literally a refrigerator. Like, you can only acquire so many refrigerators before you're, number one, killing your back, number two, buried under the weight of your own cumbersome collection. Like, I'm never going to be, and I say this jokingly, I'm never going to be one of those guys that looks like, he's a hoarder and he has like a path to his house where you have to walk in a certain way just to get through and around things. Like, no, I collect out of love and nostalgia, not out of fear of missing out or keeping up with the Joneses or anything like that. If you don't have like a personal connection to the product and you're just getting swept up into message board fervor and all this other stuff, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, because you're wasting time, money, and energy that could be better used somewhere else. So if you're going to go down the rabbit hole of Proline and all these other things, and you're going to continue to acquire and collect these arcades, whether it be 3/4 scale or full size or whatever, just make sure you're buying them for the right reasons and not the wrong ones. That's all I got to say about
Put bags on them.
Put bags on them. Yeah. Wise words from Doug, followed by Glenn. So,
the wise and the unwise, yes.
So speaking of, there was today's a special day, right, Doug? There's a
well, technically yesterday, but
we're celebrating.
Typical male fashion. We forget the anniversary and we try to apologize feverishly the next day and make it up to him. But Miss Pac-Man, the lovely lass herself. It was her 40th anniversary yesterday when she officially graced herself to the world and started incessantly nagging at Pac-Man to clean up his act and stop eating so many cookies and pretzels and sodas and all the other things. But anytime you go to an arcade, you talk about arcades, Miss Pac-Man obviously comes up in the conversation. It's one of those linchpin titles that you absolutely always have to mention. Made boatloads of cash from inception. I think it made like $1.2 billion in quarters all the way up until 1987. I mean, it's one of the highest earning arcades of all time. It's got a very famous backstory of its legal issues that have only recently even come to resolution, I guess you could say. But it's very messy backstory where multiple people own portions of the proceeds and the rights, and it all started as a hack and a illegal modification to begin with. I mean, it's quite a unique piece of arcade history and video gaming history as a whole. But where would the world be without the misses?
You know what? No one ever talks about Crazy Otto. Poor Crazy Otto's left to the winds. 4 wins.
Because there's lots of NDAs and things that say stop mentioning Crazy Otto. We gave you a big stupid check.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. So
Now,
it's
do you
good to see
think
that.
Miss Pac-Man actually is associates with being a woman? I mean,
Oh,
you know,
for sure. I mean,
okay,
She's got the
sure.
bow,
she got the bow, she got the lipstick.
yeah,
Um, she, I
the
mean,
eyebrows or the eyelashes.
she was a forward-thinking female, well beyond anybody else. I mean, she was like, I'm not taking, the misses. I'm always going to be Miss Pac-Man. I don't need your stupid, ball and chain, sexist BS Pac-Man. Like,
Get rid of that hierarchy. Throw it out of the
she was
window.
yeah, I mean, she was a modern woman before the term even existed.
All right. Well, guys,
Bye, Pac-Man.
we have some more news coming up right here. All right. So we've got a bunch of different topics for you guys here. That was one of them. That's always a fun one, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got to read one comment that just made me laugh out loud.
Go ahead.
So this is from Tivo67. It says, Miss Pac-Man should have been named Ma'am. Pac-Man.
Ma'am Pac-Man. Okay.
Let's play some Pac-Man.
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 You can tell I'm going to be a dad because, like, that is a true dad joke, and I'm just like clearly
Well,
reacting way more than I should on that simple one.
did you see the looks kind of like Glenn and I were giving you when you were giving your spiel about Pac Rat and having paths to your house? You haven't had kids yet,
Right?
So as soon as
I tried so hard not to.
the kid toys and jumpers and walkers and things come, you are, with all the stuff that you have, you're going to have a path to your house. And then the next words out of your wife, and guys in the chat room, mark this date because Glenn and I, he's agreeing with me. The next thing out of your wife's mouth is, Doug, we need a bigger house.
Oh, that was prior to the kid. We've been talking about that for 2 years.
It's really going to come out
then. The housing market.
I'm marking down to wait till the baby turns like 1, 2, 3, and Doug buys the gifts. And when the kid opens it up, he goes, "Oh, well, you're not supposed to play with it. Hold on, let me take that from you. Put it over here. It's to look at." But play with it. No, it's not to play with.
No,
this Ghostbusters Proton Pack. No, it goes over here.
Everybody knows I'm the guy that takes the toys out of the package.
He
does. I have no problem with them playing with it. I'll tell you guys the same thing I told my wife when she's like, well, "What are you gonna do with the kid wants to play with your toys?" I'll look him square in the eye and tell him to get a damn job, just like I did, and buy his own freaking toys.
Right. We're gonna ask you that again in probably about
kids
5
in
years.
Taiwan, putting together half these toys right now. So, I mean, I know child labor laws aside, it's possible. So if the kid wants some money, wants to make some toys, earn some toys, he's going to have to get after it. Learn some machinery skills.
Before we get into the next subject that we have for everybody, there was a comment that came up on Facebook from John Stone. He wants to know, what's your guys' favorite front end to use? So, Glenn, do you want to head us off with that?
You know what? I just use pretty much RetroPie straight. I don't really use a front end.
You don't? Do you use like Emulation Station or something?
Well, yeah, in RetroPie, Emulation Station is what I would use, but I don't use any of the other front ends because it complicates it. And I'm old and I don't want to. I want to play it. I just want to go and play the game. I actually have gone the other end. Like, I don't have thousands of games anymore. I put maybe 30 or 40 of my favorites, and that's it. It takes too long to go through it. To be honest.
Doug?
Since I am not a Pi guy, I prefer PCs and the Optiplexes and things like that. I lean towards Launchbox and Big Box.
Yeah, I'm with Glenn, though. I use Emulation Station with RetroPie. I guess CoinOps is considered a front end, right? I mean, they still consider that a front. So I use CoinOps too. There's one on the Mac. I don't have it right now, but do you remember what the name of that one was? I use that.
I have the joystick icon.
EMU, or what is it? MU.
OpenEMU.
OpenEMU. So on the Mac, I use OpenEMU. I use that on the Mac. A couple of my buddies who are not very savvy in putting games into a front end with artwork and stuff, OpenEMU is like a very good front end for a novice to get drag and drop to get started, especially for Mac users. That's something. So yeah,
Don't
whatever.
ruin these classic games with a Mac. I mean, come on.
They run
It's
better
good
on a Mac.
thinking,
They
though.
just scream and say, "Yes, we have the power to run."
Ugh. Ugh.
So
I got the COVID taste in my mouth. With that one.
Glenn and I were discussing in pre-show before you were getting on, Doug, about.
Hey, that was private. That was between you and me, dude.
Well, okay. So before we were talking about Retromania Wrestling, how I was talking about a game. We'll get to it later on Limited Run Games. They talked about Retromania coming to Limited Run Games. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean that's been talked about since its inception.
Any news on
right.
it? Do you know anything about it?
No, last we heard it was going to be May of last year. So, I mean, I know tons of things have changed in the development of the game and the add-ons. But yeah, as far as a physical copy, there are some that do exist, but for like the Switch, if you want that limited run treatment,
You know what?
still question marks.
I heard that they're waiting for the major DLC, that they're putting you in the game, but they're going to make you look like Cobra Kai,
Oh,
and
okay.
you were going to be wrestling Stevie Richards. That was the rumor I heard, and I just wanted.
Okay.
I'm trying to get validity out of you.
Well,
if there's truth to that.
I do have NDA sign, but if I was to speak hypothetically, it would not be Cobra Kai. It would be Miyagi-Do because I'm
Okay.
a good guy. But again, that's all hypothetically.
That's and I heard
Just
Glenn was
talking
your
out
manager in the he was going to be the Paul Heyman of you were like the Brock Lesnar, he was the Paul Heyman. So at least that's what I've been reading.
I am no one's Heyman. I'm no one's Heyman.
He doesn't watch wrestling. Well, the reason I brought that up is for our next story. So talk to us a little bit about it.
All right, so if you do want a classic retro-inspired game on your Nintendo Switch, wrestling-themed, then you got something coming your way in February. You got Action Arcade Wrestling. This game has actually been out for Steam and PlayStation, Xbox for a while now. So if you want to play it, you want to try it out, you can on those other systems. But for the Switch, it's finally coming in February. Completely all unlicensed characters within the game, but has this awesome creative mode where you can download literally any wrestler you can think of. The community's already made basically everyone from top to bottom that you can think of, professional wrestlers, old and new, current, young, whatever. So if you want to get those wrestlers in this game, it's literally just a matter of downloading them. So that's a really cool feature. But as you can see, it's got cel-shaded graphics, over-the-top arcade action. It's not exactly a simulation experience. It's not as deep and as dark and hard to master as Fire Pro Wrestling or anything like that, but it's also a little more in-depth than something like WrestleMania, the arcade game. So it's a nice little in-between of the two.
It actually looks
It looked
good.
beautiful.
It
It
did.
looked really good.
It really
Yeah.
did.
And it's promising to be able to run 60 frames per second on the Switch, and it has like a 10-man battle royal. So, I mean, it's handling a lot of processing power on the Switch, which is quite impressive. So I've got it on Steam. It's super fun to play. I'll pick it up again on the Switch just because I like the portability and, play it in the car type of thing. So definitely check it out if you like that type of thing.
Doug, Hollywood Polo's got a question for you. He
Okay.
says, Doug, have you played Cobra Kai on Steam? It's pretty sweet. Beat 'em up. Better than Streets of Rage 4, in my opinion.
I have the Cobra Kai game on Nintendo Switch, and I'm assuming that's the exact same game he's talking about because I'm only familiar with one Cobra Kai game out there. It's a good beat 'em up. It is, the levels are overtly long. It feels like arduous. Like it's a beat 'em up that kind of spends way too much time on the beat 'em up before you can actually complete a level. So that was my big criticism of it. But overall, it's a fun game.
And Rex says, hello. He says, hello, fellas and ladies. So, Glenn, he made sure to address you. He did say hello, ladies.
I know,
so-
I appreciate that, Rex. That was so sweet of you.
Sorry, I had to put that one in there. Yeah, so Mike in the chat room, he also states that it's better than WWE 2K18 right out of the box. It just works.
Yeah.
That was a disaster, no lie.
The box is better than that game. I mean, literally.
Peter's got a question.
Well,
I
why,
don't know.
was that a disaster? Was that a disaster like Cyberpunk?
Oh no, this
That
was worse.
Worse.
This
Yeah.
was worse.
Worse?
Oh, you need to go back and look at the
Yeah.
articles on it. I know you're not a wrestling guy, but seriously, it was You
This
couldn't
is one of
pay
those
me to
things that
get
makes you scratch your head and like, people got paid to make this.
Yep.
They had a year and a half to make this.
Yep.
They had a foundation to make this game. It wasn't even like they built it from scratch. They essentially, it's, a annular game. So you just kind of repolish it and add some new tweaks. And you look at that game and you're like, how did people get paid to produce this? How did somebody charge $59.99 for this?
Peter,
Wow, $60.
Peter Michael in the chat room, I'm glad you posted that again. I was trying to find your comment. He asked, is the Ultimate MK3 cabinet still coming? And is it Wi-Fi like the MK30th? I don't believe they announced any Pro Series of the MK. They did create the, MK1 remake that is Wi-Fi capable. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's the MK30. So here's the
30,
thing.
yeah.
Just like Pac-Man, just like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat's going to get multiple releases. It's going to get a Pro Series. There's going to be a Street Fighter Pro Series. A lot of the cabinets you've bought are all going to get rehashed in some way, shape, or form on the Pro Series. Do not get surprised. Do not get so offended and, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. I'm telling you right now, they're going to do that. They will do that. Deal with it, because it's going to happen whether you want it or not. So if you're in the market for one of those machines, don't buy it, because a newer version is going to be out in 6 months. That Ultimate version you saw was a mock-up. It's essentially what the MK 30th anniversary version turned into. Does that mean they won't ever give you another version of something like that? Maybe a retailer exclusive? No, that's also likely going to happen, because again, like I said, you can rehash, reskin, repackage these things over and over and over again, which builds you up some revenue stream. And yeah, I mean, it's a proven trend in all of electronics and just consumer marketing in general. It's not something unique to Arcade 1-Up. I mean, there's a tried and true reason they do this type of thing. Do you like it? Do you have to like it? No, but you have to accept it, because it's not going to go anywhere.
I got to give a big shout out here to Juan in the chat room, Juan Persia. He's one of my partners in crime in Fortnite. Those of you guys that actually come out and watch us play some Fortnite, him and his daughter, we have a good old time, and don't let him kid you. Don't let him say, "Oh, my daughter will play," because she'll kick your butt. She's good.
Oh, she's the ringer.
She's young and she's good. Like, I'm like, yeah, I forget. I think I said watch her be like 10 years old, and she's like whooping her butts, and she was like 10 or 11 or something like. So I felt like this big. But you know what? He's pretty good. We've gotten a lot of wins with that, so really appreciate it. He's been like my #1 cheerleader for the live gaming streams. So he sits there and watches, and his daughter. So it's a lot of fun. So guys, we appreciate it. Any comments from your guys' chat room? Since we're on some comments here.
Oh, Rob Coleman just remarked the motor industry does it all the time with the facelift models. And yeah, like I said, it's not a unique thing to any specific, part of the retail market. It's just part of business.
Glenn, anything?
I don't have any chat people. No, I'm kidding. I'm lying.
Oh, okay. So
nothing major. Nothing major.
Okay, so Michael B did comment about that Pro Series. He said John D did do an interview and showed it off. Okay, so I didn't see that interview. So okay, I stand corrected. That apparently he did show off a Pro Series Mortal Kombat.
John D's also said a lot of things that aren't true, and John D.
Hey, listen, man, I'm just reading the comments here.
I mean, you're reading that, and I'm fully aware and I acknowledge that it exists, but I'm also going off the history of this company that I've been following longer than literally anybody on the internet for the most part. So it's just like, just telling you how it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm, and I know some of you guys, I'll address this really quick before we get into more of this. A lot of you guys I've gotten some comments like, why do you keep streaming Fortnite? I can't stand Fortnite. That's fine. I'm streaming other games as well, but what I'm trying to do is those that are interested to watch it, that's why I'm streaming to YouTube, because eventually I want to move the gameplay completely over to Twitch. I want to have YouTube set for my videos and these shows, of course, and what I do with Glenn and Doug. And then I want Twitch to be the gameplay hub for any games that I play and things like that. This way you don't have redundancy with your content creator, right? You have the same people that post to Facebook, Instagram, and all these other places, the same daggone picture, And then they want you to subscribe to everything, so you're seeing their picture like 20 times that they're posting. And I'm guilty of it too, just like anybody else. But I'm really starting to segment my content to different areas. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my, I guess, 2022 resolution, you want to call it. I'm trying to give value. So if you follow my Instagram, you're only going to get certain content on Instagram. If you're subscribed to my YouTube, you're only going to get certain content on the YouTube. So I just wanted to kind of explain that.
I just saw a text message come through asking, do you know what time it is? Do you guys know what time it is?
Wait. It looks like it's 8:30 my time.
Yep.
What does that mean?
That means
That
means it's time for Game of the Week. So what game are we taking a look at this week? It's Sega's Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator. Set phasers to fun. The Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator arcade game by Sega was the first official Star Trek arcade video game. Released in 1982, it was inspired in part by the Kobayashi Maru simulator seen in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
We are now in violation of treaty, Captain.
Battle stations, activate shields.
Shields activated.
Alert. Klingon torpedoes activated. Alert.
Evasive action.
Shields collapsing, Captain.
Its vector graphics display was meant to mirror those seen in the beginning of the film. The game was ported by Sega to non-vector versions for several of the better-known game systems of the day, namely the Atari 2600, Atari 5200, ColecoVision, Apple II, Atari 8-bit computer family, the Commodore 64, VIC-20, but most notably, the TI-9948 version, which did include digitized speech.
Entering Sector 2.1.
The arcade game was released in two versions. The standard upright game cabinet was modeled and fashioned after similar machines of the day, with a standard screen and control layout. In addition, there was a special captain's chair sit-down model that was fashioned to simulate that of the bridge of the retrofit Star Trek USS Enterprise that was first seen in Star Trek the Motion Picture. Its controls were built into the chair, which the player sat, with in-game screens simulated in the separate console in front of the player. In both cases, the game included a rudimentary voice simulator, which used Scotty's voice to give you commands and Spock's to welcome you aboard and announce the entry into each sector.
Play Star Trek. Be the captain of the Starship Enterprise. Press play 1. Welcome aboard, Captain. Entering Sector 3.4. Damage the handset.
Neither was the actual actor's voice, but a computerized interpretation. The gameplay consisted of piloting the Enterprise through various space sectors, which have starbases that are under attack by Klingon cruisers, mysterious alien antimatter ships, and the Nomad probe from the original series, The Changeling. The player steers the ship by rotating a knob, either on the upright console's front or the sit-down left arm of the chair. The game's screen is divided into three sections. The upper left shows the player's score as well as the ship's amount of shield energy, green line, photon torpedoes, red boxes, and warp energy, a blue line. The upper right gives an overall view of the sector, including enemy ships and the starbases. The starbases you can dock with to re-energize your shield, restock your torpedoes, and repair your ship. The lower part of the screen shows the direct forward view, similar to the view screen of a Star Trek bridge. The player has only one ship to use. If it's destroyed, it's game over. The ship can be attacked by Klingon ships either by disruptor fire or by collision. By the antimatter saucer, which drains the Enterprise's warp power if it comes in contact with the ship, or by Nomad and the special mines it lays.
I am Nomad.
Damage is first absorbed by the shields, which you would see in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, which is in green. When drained, any additional hits takes them offline. Further hits destroy the proton torpedo controls and any torpedoes the player has. Next hit takes out the warp drive. One more hit destroys the ship entirely. Any and all damage can be repaired by docking with a starbase. The game has 40 simulation levels to play through. The format is usually 5 attack waves by Klingons and saucers, followed by an empty sector in which Nomad lays mines. In the Klingon levels, there are 3 versions of the Klingon cruisers: red, which immediately target the starbases; purple, which comes after the Enterprise with disruptor fire; and white, which try to ram the Enterprise. All 3 types can be destroyed by single phaser or torpedo hits. A further note, a red Klingon ship turns purple if it destroys the starbase it fires on, and a purple ship can turn white if you take too long to clear the sector. The saucers can only be destroyed with a single phaser hit, as antimatter torpedoes has no effect. In the Nomad levels, Nomad must be destroyed before it can escape the sector. The mines he lays can be destroyed by phaser fire, torpedoes, or collision, but their blast area can cause damage to the ship, so they are best to either be left alone or destroyed by distance. Like the antimatter saucers, Nomad can only be hit by phaser at close range. It's shielded from torpedo attack. Surprisingly, a Vectrex arcade system port titled Star Trek The Motion Picture came out about the same time, but only bears minor resemblance to this game in graphics and gameplay. It was not a port of the arcade game. So that's it for this week. Be sure to join us next week for another Game of the Week. Until then, remember to tell your family and your friends you love them, and remember in your free time to always game on.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
And that's this week's Game of the Week, and I tell you, I really enjoyed that game. First time I saw it was actually at a Chuck E. Cheese in New Jersey, and that ate a lot of my money that day. Very, very fun game, and it's not one that people remember for some reason. I'm shocked, man. It's Star Trek, which are nerds, video games, which were nerds back in the day.
It's
game
before our time. Like it looks like somebody designed it with a spirograph.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's one of those games.
It looks fun.
You could sit down. You know what? If I could find that Captain's Chair version, I would pay for that. I really would love to sit in that.
Honestly, that is the only version of this I've actually played.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, where I played it was at the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. Was the Captain's Chair version. I mean, it was fun enough. But to me, I was just like, wow, this game really wants to be the Atari Star Wars game. That was my impression of it after I played it. Yeah. I was like, if I had no knowledge or experience of the Atari Star Wars game, then yeah, I'd appreciate this more. Captain's Chair looks cool, but when I sit down and start playing, I was like, Atari Star Wars Lite. Okay.
It is, but I'll say, I don't want to say the challenge was better, but since you're only on a single plane, like left and right, it seems more fierce, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the battles, because with the yoke, you're gonna get all over the place.
Yeah,
it's repetitive like that game, but I tell you, when you play it in the captain's chair, wait for that yeoman to come around. How you doing?
So last week we were talking, and Glen was all beside himself because I ended up getting that link. So if you missed the episode, go back and watch it. So now there's a new one, Glen, that I'm working on. Not because I want it, just because I know I can get it for $100. A Magnavox, complete in box with all the paperwork complete, still in the bag, and 25 games. Do I buy it?
For $100.
For $100.
Whoa! First you had me still in the bag. It's in a bag.
Well, all the paperwork is still in a bag. Like you know how they come in the bag.
Worth it. Wait, what are we talking about? The Odyssey? The Odyssey 2?
I think it's the Odyssey 2. I want to say.
Okay. So the Odyssey 2 came out after the 2600 and the Bally Astrocade. And to be honest, the graphics were not as good at all. But it did have the keyboard on there, and there were a couple of good games like Casey Munchkin, Casey's Crazy Chase.
But is it worth the $100 for the 25 games, it complete in box? Because I'm not going to play it.
I think so. No, I totally think it is. The one piece you're going to have to find somewhere is to get the voice. If you have a Magnavox Odyssey, not a lot of games support it, but you have to have the voice, which is a voice synthesizing module for it.
That's if you're going to play it.
Worth it. Well, yeah.
I don't have it, Glenn. I don't have a TV. Doug, do you have a TV that supports something like that?
No.
Whoa. Oh, come on.
No.
Come on. You
I'm not
can get an adapter.
I can't even play an
for it.
Atari on mine. I actually have to. Yeah.
I can, but I purposely choose not to. This is the same reason I don't watch
Right.
movies on VHS. Like, I'm not the scan line guy. Like,
No.
I know people love scan lines and want them to be as authentic as possible.
Betamax?
I'm not that guy. I want to see everything as
Three-quarter?
clean and crisp as possible.
No.
4K resolution.
Oh.
Yeah.
How is that retro?
Sorry.
Retro is the lines going across, and the tracking sensor getting all screwed up, and the lines keep coming across in the battle scenes you did too many times. That's what it's all about. That's retro.
No.
I converted.
That's you looking at things through rose-colored glasses. I mean, just because it was like that before doesn't mean it has to be like that now, nor does it mean what was before was the best representation of it. Again, going back to the VHS Betamax, comparison.
Okay, I'm going to say original theatrical Star Wars, special editions. Rest my case.
Battlefield 2.
Well, that's a different thing because there's changes. If you wanted to watch original Star Wars in grimy, untouched, 480p, or do you want to watch it in 4K? If we're talking about apples to apples, the exact same movie, how would you prefer to watch it? On a 13-inch CRT or a 120-inch home theater in 4K?
Black and white GE TV on a quarter-inch pirated videotape that someone taped in a theater from 5 people back with people's.
Well, you have to constantly go up there and adjust the tracking knobs.
Yeah, and you got to whack it a few times to make sure that it stays in. No, I did that with all my retro consoles in that are over there. Like I bought the HDMI converters to switch all my consoles over to HDMI. The only one that's not is the Jaguar because I haven't been able to find an HDMI adapter for the Jaguar. That's going in coax, which is probably the worst you could possibly go in. But
yeah. I can't imagine there's a massive demand for it either, though. I mean, the Jaguar was such a niche product to begin with, so I can't imagine there's so many people out there.
The best you'll get out of that is a composite out. But I'm actually really waiting for you to say you're offering the $100, and they said, "Oh no, you're not getting me with $100, buddy. I'm giving it to you for $25."
Well, so I was gonna
I'm waiting for.
I was gonna go back to them and say, how about I give you like $50 in hopes that they would come back and say 75 and walk out with it for 75. So I'll keep you posted on it. If
But
I end up
honestly,
getting
at $100 with that amount of games on it, with the boxes and everything,
No, it's a good deal.
It's fair market value. It is.
Well, and so this is the thing. So like when I even go, I was telling them, I go to pawn shops a lot. I go to Goodwill a lot to get games. If you look at my Instagram, I just picked up all those games plus I think there's 4 other games not pictured that are duplicates that I'm gonna trade off because they're valued pretty good, as well as Nintendo games. I got it for $50, and there's probably like I don't know 20, 25 games there. A lot of times I'll go into these pawn shops and I'll buy a stack of them. They'll want like $4 a piece for them. They don't go by value, and so I'll say to them, how about $2 a game because I'm buying a stack, and they're like, okay. You don't know unless you ask. So, Glenn, and they have plenty of plastic bags to put them in.
Gotta have the bags. There's a couple of my faces. I have to start going further now. I gotta drive quite a few miles now to get into a supermarket because my face is up on the wall.
So what is this, Doug?
Bags.
What is this random R64? What is this?
I mean, it's literally what the title suggests. It's just one of the most obscure things I ever thought came across the week, and it's literally what it says. So this guy, I want to say he's German, is electro music artist, and he's putting out his new album, but he's putting it out as a Nintendo 64 cartridge. And it's literally the game. There's no funny business, no tricks or anything like that. It's literally on a cart, will be played and operating through a Nintendo 64. It's not like hey, we put an MP3 player in a Nintendo 64 game shell. Nope. He's doing this as like a trilogy. I want to say it says somewhere in the article. I think he's got like a Game Boy Advance version coming out of a different album. He's doing all these retro gaming cartridges and game systems to release his music, which I thought was extremely unique. It's a terrible business model. Absolutely guarantees. You want to talk about going platinum? This guy will be lucky to go plastic. I mean, good lord. But it's a neat idea. It's a neat concept. It's certainly definitely thinking out of the box. Is the music any good? I have no idea. But I thought it was interesting to see somebody thinking of a new way to bring attention and some thoughts to beloved consoles like the Nintendo 64. That's certainly not how I want to listen to an album. I don't think of enjoying an entire 13-song music compendium by just turning on my Nintendo 64. Are there so many great soundtracks on Nintendo 64 games, things like that? Yeah, sure. Am I just gonna power up my Nintendo 64 and sit back in my favorite chair with some headphones? Probably not.
All the
Do they have a car adapter? Can you plug it into your car?
I mean, Glen, if anybody's up to that challenge, I think you'd be the person for the job. Yeah.
All the audio files are sitting in the chat room going, "Oh dear Lord, what does this world come to?"
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Nintendo 64 is not exactly known for its amazing uncompressed audio capabilities. So obviously, again, it's not him trying to make the best decision for his audio quality. It's just hey, here's an interesting gimmick that literally no one has ever thought of for good reason. But I applaud him for thinking out of the box.
And for you pinball lovers, what do we got here?
So this also was part of the CS news and announcements last week, but I wanted to kind of keep it separate just because it was its own entity, so to speak. So Stern, like I said, I mentioned this several weeks ago previously. This was the hot rumored title, and sure enough, the rumors were true. Stern's going to be releasing 3 new pinball machines, different, tiers. You got Pro, Premium, Limited Edition, but for the band Rush. So if you're not familiar with Rush, Canadian,
you've been living under a box.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, surely everybody knows who Rush is, whether you like them or not. I mean, you can be indifferent to them.
How can you not like Rush?
Well, that's the thing. Even if you don't like the band, you can still have fun playing these machines. You don't have to necessarily be fully into the music or anything like that. But I want to say they got 17 licensed songs included on the machine, so quite a bit. Designed by John Borg, same guy that did Jurassic Park, my Jurassic Park that I just acquired, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, Data East. So many amazing games in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. John Borg's been around for a long, long time. Prolific designer. So this is a very similar theme as far as layout table-wise to some of his other designs as well. So a little bit reminiscent of certain things. If you're a longtime pinball fan or a John Borg fan or something like that, you may see a lot of the similarities. But it's got a lot of cool mechanisms, toys. You got the time machine in the middle there that has a magnet to it where it sucks the ball up and shoots it around. So this should be shipping relatively. Table. Oh, absolutely. I mean, these things are immaculate. They should be because they cost at the start $6,700. So I mean, they're definitely not cheap. These are premium items by far and away. But I mean, at no point in time has I ever met anybody that's walked up to a newer Stern and said, I don't see the money there. I mean, you can see the money and the details there. Right. It's just whether or not can you choke on it and buy it.
I like the little details, like even on the chute where they had Rush. That's really nice.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. Little things like that. I mean, they're all over the place, but you got old concert footage, new concert footage on the back box on the scoring display. So lots of cool stuff. Like I said, if you're a huge Rush fan, this has been something you've been dreaming for years. But this is the latest and greatest. Typically, Stern comes out with another announcement around May. Rumor is it's going to be Marvel Venom cabinet. And then around August, September is typically their last announcement for the year. And the rumor is that's going to be Back to the Future. Whether or not the rumors pan out, we don't know. But so far, the rumor mill's always been pretty accurate. Like I said, had knowledge that Rush was going to be the next table up around October of last year. And lo and behold, here it is.
That's a good tribute to Neil Peart, I think.
Yep. And they actually, when they did a gameplay live stream of it last Friday, they were raising money for the Neil Peart Foundation. So proceeds to that stream where they were showing the gameplay and everything off went to the Neil Peart Foundation, which I thought was, a nice touch.
So we know Glenn is going to purchase that.
I would love to. That's a beautiful,
it is a beautiful
cabinet, and I like Rush. So
yeah.
So
I mean, you'll have Tom Sawyer stuck in your head for sure, and Man and all the other classics that are on there.
Better not do it. We'll get a copyright strike just from doing that.
If anything, just you can go watch "I Love You, Man" and the whole slap of the bass with Paul Rudd and Stephen not Steven, Jason Siegel. Yeah.
So what happened in Denver? I see that there's a Retro Bandit, not to be confused with the Retro Buzz.
So really, when I read this article, I mean, it's not so much anything to do with gaming. I mean, they apparently labeled this guy the Retro Bandit because of his glasses. He has flip-up glasses.
I see that.
But as they describe the gentleman and his
that is not me.
His stature, I really made me wonder, Glenn, where were you a couple weeks ago? Or excuse me, maybe a couple days ago. Because when I saw the side profile, I was like,
that does not look like me.
That looks like Glenn's frame. That looks like Glenn's beard kind of poking through in between the beanie and the bandana. I know I've seen Glenn wear those glasses before when he's soldering.
How many of you guys in the chat? How many guys in the chat room think this is Glenn? Put a 1 in the chat room if you think that we can help. There's a reward for this guy. Oh, so we could split it.
Substantial one.
So if this is Glenn,
my hat
is that knee, Glenn? See, I'm telling you, Glenn, look out.
So apparently this guy was robbing banks, but he was doing it politely. He wasn't showing anybody a gun or a weapon or anything. He was just saying, hey, I'd like to make a withdrawal. And they're like, hey, what's your account number? And he's like, I don't need no stinking account number.
I don't need no stinking account number.
Fill up the bag, lady.
I need to buy a Sega Star Trek. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, look at it. Here comes the ones.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well,
but it also kind of goes with the trend of you can just throw retro on anything, apparently, because there's retro bank robbers now.
So, what do we got here? Ritual says in the chat room, he goes, well, it's either Glenn or it's Detroit Love, which very well could be possible.
Yeah, I can see that as well. I mean, the telling sign would be...
It's your boy, Glenn, over here.
If hypothetically this Retro Bandit, a.k.a. Glenn, if the bags of money he was walking out of were the clear grocery bags, like if he walked in there and he's like, hey, load it up, that's all I need to know. I'm calling that tip line.
That would be bad. That would be bad.
My little sandwich bags will break with all the coins.
So
only you would rob a bank and accept coins.
Or because now that's retro.
Yeah.
So we have
all Susan B. Anthony dollars, please. And he's a little.
There you go.
We have a final story here that I kind of wanted to bring up because I know we talk a lot about physical media, and I wanted to talk about this because for Christmas I got my son. Well, Santa got my son, in case he's watching, a Xbox Series S, and it was digital, but in all reality, that was the only one I could find at the time. I mean, new consoles, next-gen consoles were like non-existent. I was surprised I could even find a Switch OLED. So I didn't know how he was going to respond to it because he really wanted the Xbox to start out with, probably because I didn't have one down here. But I really wanted the physical edition. So so we set it up, and he's like, can I get the PlayStation digital, PlayStation 5? And Doug was just telling me, he's like, you're raising them wrong, or Glenn said, or somebody said it. And
your kid's broken.
But here's the thing. And I didn't think of it like this. He's got this system. He's got an external hard drive we put 2 terabytes on. He downloads 4 or 5 games at night, 80 gigs worth, plays them for a couple weeks, gets bored of them, deletes them, goes and downloads other games, and all it's costing me is $15 a month. Where we, the collectors, I got a Series X because I wanted the physical media. And we're like, we'll just buy these games, right? But we still have to install them. And then if we run out of room, we still got to delete them. And these games are virtually impossible to play without the patches. So even if you have physical media and they shut the servers down like they did with the Xbox servers, that's a bit of news. I think it was yesterday or... The Halo servers, everything, 360 servers are down.
Struggling.
Done. Yeah. So this is what happened here. So Sony here is putting together a PlayStation Game Pass, and we were sitting here, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool because I think this is something that the other generation. Glenn, wake up!
These companies are killing me.
Why?
Glenn looks like the He-Man meme where He-Man's got like the rainbow background and he's got the exact same.
Because this is like the worst possible scenario, which you just said right here. He's got the games, he deletes it. It's only $15. The games are lost. If the game is good or bad or whatever, those type of games at one point are just going to be gone. Gone.
No.
They belong in history. They belong part of it. And these digital-only consoles are bullshit. I'm saying it right now. These digital-only consoles are absolute bullshit. It's just for the companies to make money, hand over fist, and you get nothing back. You go to trade them in, you get nothing for it. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's Kathleen Kennedy in the gaming market.
Wait. But so as a PS3, Xbox 360, maybe a little bit before that, where there was downloading patches and stuff, are those games going to work right now on the Xbox 360 correctly without being able to get a patch
That's
for it?
more bullshit. I'm sorry.
No, I listen. I agree with you. So what's the difference between the physical media
I'm
versus
all these companies right now? Design your games to work out of the goddamn box. I'm serious. It really pisses me off because they release these games like the one I remember is Cyberpunk, right? But you guys said this other game, Russia game, or whatever was worse. But you're spending good money for these games. They're half-assing it, charging you top dollar, and then what? You delete from the hard drive and it's gone, and that's it. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's just for these companies to make money off of you, the gamer, and you get nothing for it. It's bullshit. I'm sick of it.
Unfortunately, it's not changing. But that generation.
Well, it's not going to change. It's not going to change if people keep buying it that way. These companies, if you buy it, they're making money. They don't care. When you stop opening a damn wallet and giving these companies your cash for half-ass games that you can't keep, they shut down servers in 2 or 3 years, can't play anymore, it's bullshit. Sony,
but even
Xbox,
if you buy
physical,
physical media, it's still useless without those downloads and patches.
In these newer consoles, yes. Again, it's bullshit. But at least when you get physical, a lot of times, that patch, you come down to like a Wii, someone release a patch. You have to take the ISO, you got to patch it. It's still shit. I'm really mad about this. I'm cursing a little too much. But these companies really are just doing this to make a fast buck. They release games half-ass. It's a bad out-of-box experience to begin with when you're playing it. You got to wait maybe an hour to download the patches, and then they shut the server down. The game's worthless. Now, what if you really like that game? You shouldn't just be like, oh, I delete off the server and I forget about it. That's bullshit. That's how these companies want to do it. Like, look what Xbox did. They had to backtrack it. Why? Well, I'm going to talk about they backtracked their not being able to take used games on their machine. What happened? Everyone flipped out? What did Microsoft do? Oh, no. We didn't mean that. You, the user, you, the consumer, runs it, not these companies. As long as you buy, they'll sell you crap. When you stop buying it, you change the market. It's all on you to do it. The last console I bought is the Xbox 360 and a PS2 I got secondhand. I actually bought a PS1. I won't buy these new consoles. They piss me off. Thank you. See? Right there.
Glenn.
This is my bullshit rant.
Glenn, this is a comment for you. Go ahead and read it.
Give it the times, bro. We're in a digital age now, bro. The disc is worthless now, bro. Since you have to install it, bro. No, I disagree. To be quite honest, you get SD cards now. I go to Walmart, get a 256 gigabyte SD card for like $17. All right, it can be done that way. I'm sorry. I think when you purchase something, I'm pissed off at these licenses. When you buy something, it's a freaking license. You think you own it? You don't even own it. You paid to use it. They own it.
That's how software is too.
And it's bullshit. I'm sorry. We as gamers are allowing it to happen. Why? Because we're paying for it. When you stop paying for these things, the companies will change their tune. Microsoft changed their tune a number of times. PlayStation changed their tune a number of times when the community got pissed off. But we're buying it this way. And simply say, that's just the way it is, it's digital, is bullshit. It's bullshit. As a collector, I want the physical copy. I want to be able in 15 years to plug this thing in and have it work. If I go to plug it in, it says, sorry, server's unavailable, can't play it. That's bullshit.
Doug, you want to follow that one up? I mean, I'm kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. The only thing I could say, and I agree for the most part with everything Glenn said, is just kind of harking back to the vote with your wallet. I mean, it goes, whether we're talking about video games or things in your life, plain and simple. The average consumer does not understand how much power they have and their decisions or indecisions are. in terms of what they have available to purchase in the future. If you don't like something, don't say, I don't like it, but it's good enough and I'll settle for it. I'm not going to be happy about plopping $700 down, but I'll do it. You're the problem. Plain and
But
simple.
the average consumer wants digital. They don't want the physical media. Just
Do
like
they?
Yes.
Do they, or they not have a choice?
100%.
Do they, or they
Nope.
don't have a choice?
I stood in GameStop when I picked up the Series X. They're like, dude, why are you getting that? And I said, because I want physical media. And they're like, oh, no, man, digital's the way to go. 5 people chose the Series S over the X when they got that in stock. I was
This is a
floored.
world I don't want to live in anymore. I
was
want off
floored.
this world. Elon, call me, get me to Mars. I want off this planet.
So
Sick.
let me put this out there really quick, because then we gotta wrap this up here. I know it's a new game alert, but it's not really a game. Check this out. So on the same wavelength as physical media, controllers or something else that I was in. I started looking at this one here for the Series X. If you guys are collectors like I am and others here, this is one you may want to pick up. This controller. This is the Xbox Series X. It'll work on your S, but it's the 20th anniversary. Now you can see what GameStop's charging for it, $70, but people are already selling this for $140 because it's a 20th anniversary. Even if you're not into getting the additional controllers and you're collecting, this is a controller, in my opinion, that you should pick up right now, because these are getting scarce and more scarce to find. And I believe in another year or so, these controllers are going to triple in value. They're going to be up to probably $200-$300 for those controllers, because I've watched it happen with other controllers that have been, anniversary series things. So just a word to wise, if you see it for $70, pick it up, because right now
It'll work without a software update? You have to update the software?
all controllers,
Is the server
when you
got to
put
be
it in,
connected for it to work? Huh?
well, like anything else, right, Glenn? But either way, I wanted to put that out there. So if you guys are looking to, if you're collecting, pick that up. Anything 20th anniversary from Xbox, I've been going around trying to pick up anything with that, and Sony as well. Anything. It just seems like it's really cool. So I'm just throwing it out there. Keep it nice, play with it, with your game, and use it, but take care of it. That's what we got, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Douglas Smith, youtube.com/cooltoy. If you didn't get a chance before the show to go watch his pinball video that he put up of his restoration process, it's very interesting to see the progress that you made, considering how dirty that thing was.
No, it's not. Cancel Cool Toy.
It's cancel culture.
Whatever. Unsubscribe to Cool Toy. That's what I'm
So,
saying.
real quick, Peter asks, he said, so Steven, he says, do you buy physical movies on Blu-ray still? No, I do not. I buy all digital movies, all on Apple TV. That's the way I buy them. That's the way I don't rent them, but I do buy them on digital. I have over 300 or 400 DVDs and Blu-rays, and I just got no more room for them, and I'm not a movie collector. So, real quick, that's my answer to that one. Glen Planamento, he's been dropping some videos. He's dropping them like they're hot, especially these weekly Game of the Weeks. Make sure you go check it out.
Just let me know if you're enjoying it. Should I continue it? Should I change it up? Should I make it,
Yes.
Glen's rants? I don't know. Let me know. They're kind of fun. They take me. It's 6 minutes. It only takes me 15 days to make it. But because I'm running on an XT IBM 8086, it takes a little while to encode.
If you guys are in the mood, you can also tune in about 25 minutes. I'll be going live probably with my squad. We're going to be playing some Fortnite. We usually do it on a Friday night. Could be a long one. Last week we were up till 3 a.m. playing. Time got away from us. So if you're interested, go to twitch.tv/thetechbuzz. We'll be on at 9:30. Yep, Juan's putting it in the chat room. We do have a bunch of people that come in and out. And because I was approved as a creator for Epic, we can create our own map where we just have community members go into the map. So you can play against each other. You can play against me and kill me because that usually happens. So if you guys want to come out, about 9:30 we're going to get started. So if it's not on right at 9:30, don't kill me. I got to shut everything down and get things going. But we should be on and having some fun. I think my kids are going to play too. So Should be a good time. We will be back here next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Should be a lot of fun, as always. We really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, keep it buzzing. Hit it, Glenn.
Buzz, buzz.